Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Big Time Talkers. The date of recording is July 27th, 2021. I'm recording this at night. Just got done recording Tommy's call in segment on the show. There will be no me and Ben this week, unfortunately. Me and Ben, once again, couldn't have our schedules work out. So it's just me for the rest of the show as me and Tommy did a nice, good amount of time talking about what happened in the week of, talking Big 12 falling apart and talking about my experience on Raw and he actually watching it. And then we revealed what we'll be reviewing next week, and also we introduced a new segment. So, without further ado, let's get this show on the road. All right. Welcome back to another episode of Big Time Talkers. I am Brock Gorton. I'll be joined by Tommy Haley later in the show. And it's a action-packed show. We had a lot to talk about, so much so that we actually had to call Tommy in via phone call for this one. But let's get things started off with something that happened after we recorded the podcast last week, and that was the NHL expansion draft. Seattle Kraken now have a roster, folks. And it's something. Let's put it that way. There is something there. There are pieces here that actually could become. I don't know if it's going to be the same level as the Vegas run, and especially with how packed the Pacific Division is. Pacific Division is going to be a little bit weaker upcoming because you still got the Oilers, you still got the Knights, the Vegas Golden Knights, and then there's got to be someone who emerges from the pack. I don't know. We'll get to that later on, but they did go by divisions. They started with the Atlantic Division, and with their first pick from Boston, Seattle Kraken selected Jeremy Lauzon, and there were he's not the worst one they could have done. There was definitely a lot of other choices that could have worked probably better as well. But for what they're going for a younger guy. Could be a few years. I don't know. We'll see what they're going with. Their defense is definitely going to be the strong suit of the team. Their weakness is probably goaltending. Defense only got better with their next pick. They chose Will Borgen from Buffalo, who, 24 years old. He was on the Olympic team in 2018. He's not terrible by any stretch of the word. He's actually probably one of the better young guys that Buffalo had available. Especially considering some of the other options that were available in the draft this year. Not the worst pick in the world that they had. Trust me, we'll get to that one a little bit later. From Detroit, they had Dennis Cholowski, another defenseman. A lot of defensemen taken early in this draft, early and often, which, okay, makes sense, but at the same time, there wasn't a lot from, like, the first three. There weren't a lot of options from Boston, Buffalo, or Detroit. Slightly better options, but not by much. So I understand why they took who they took. From Florida, they went goaltender and they took Chris Drager, which, good young goaltender. Nashville ran up against him quite a few times when he was playing down the stretch last year, as Nashville made their push to make it to the playoffs. And, well, Nashville blew it up starting to blow it up, which is sad, but I understand. But yeah, Dreiger's going to be. I don't. He might be the starter. Uh, Starting goaltender. That's the one question because it's a lot of young goaltenders that they chose. So there, there was the option to Carey Price from Montreal. We'll get to that Montreal pick right now, actually, as they were the next one in that division. They took Cale Fleury from Montreal. Carey Price was available, and I get why they didn't take him or take Carey Price because of the cap situation. They have $28 million in cap space available to them coming up for this year, so it kind of makes sense. But God, I don't know. There were a few others that had me question it a bit. But yep, Cale Fleury, the defenseman from Montreal Canadiens, is now a Seattle Kraken. Ottawa was up next, and Ottawa's had a rough go at it these last few years since that what was that Eastern Conference Final run 2017 against Pittsburgh. So yeah, they've had a rough go since then, and yeah, there wasn't a lot of options for them. They took Joey Daccord, a good young goaltender. He's got a lot of upside, actually. Um, the next team was going to get hurt no matter who they chose, as it was Tampa up next, and they chose Yanni Gourde, center, who I don't know. I don't know where he's going to fall in the depth chart yet, because they also selected some other really good centers, but Yanni Yanni's not the most underrated player that they selected. That one's actually from Nashville. A little bit of bias, I know, but Yanni's pretty damn good. After that, from Toronto, even though he played for Pittsburgh the most recently, it was Jared McCann, the left winger. Yeah, that was a surprise to say the least, as that was they were going to hurt them being Toronto was going to hurt depending on who they chose. So the fact they chose McCann, and here's the thing, Seattle didn't get like any draft picks from any of these teams, so they just straight up took guys. So cap situation is interesting for some of these teams, especially with Tampa Bay. I mean, Yanni getting taken helps the cap a little bit, but you still got to pay some of your players. So McCann was taken from Toronto. From Carolina, it's Morgan Geekie. Weird name, decent player. He'll be playing center this year. He'll be playing center. We shall see where he actually goes. He's played a few years, mainly in just like the AHL, but he spent a lot of the years. Um, he spent a few games in the NHL. That's why he's up to go. He was all right, nothing terrible. Up next was the Columbus Blue Jackets, where Gavin Bayreuther was taken. A defenseman, a lot of defensemen. That's the thing. There were a lot of physical defensemen that were taken. And I think that's the identity they're going to go with going forward. It makes sense. You have to have some identity going forward. And that's the one they decided to go with. New Jersey was up next, and they took Nathan Bastin. So, I mean, right winger, he'll be good in this. I think he needed a little bit of, I don't know. It's New Jersey. They didn't have a lot to select from. He may just be an AHL fodder type of guy. The Islanders were up next, and the Islanders were in a very interesting position with cap space. They chose Jordan Eberle, another right winger. This might be their starting right winger that they go with, because he's not bad at all, but I don't know. There were a lot of options that they could have had that could be playing there, but I think that's who they're going to have as a right winger because when you go through the rest of it, unless you want to have Cole Lind as your starting right winger, that's who they're going with at right wing. From New York, they chose Colin Blackwell. Eh, not really. Doesn't really do much for me. From Philadelphia, it's Carson. Oh my lord! Hold up a second. Sorry, I'm going through the list here and. Carson Tawaski. I don't know. I'm sorry if I butchered that name. I am the most casual, one of the most casual NHL fans that you'll find when it comes to like trying to pronounce names. Left winger, he'll be all right. He'll be all right. From Pittsburgh, they chose one of my favorite players in the NHL. They chose Brandon Tanev. I fully believe that Tanev is probably going to be the starting left winger. He'll be on that starting line more than likely. He'll have a good year coming up. He's already coming off a really good year, several really good years. The issue for him is, oh, excuse me. The issue for him has been who he's been behind, and I think now he's got the perfect situation going on for him, where he's not going to be the star player. There's going to be one guy that's the face of the franchise, and has definitely going to have the captains. He's going to be named the captain. If they didn't select him, I think possibly Tanev would have gotten it. If not, oh God, I think it might have been Tanev because he's got the most playoff experience at least. Yeah, so Brandon Tanev, love that pick. I'm a big Brandon Tanev fan. From Washington, they selected Victor Vanek. I mean, he played really well for Washington last year in a pinch after their starting goaltender went down. It's exactly what they needed. He's exactly what Washington needed last year. Fortunately, just came up short against the Bruins in a goalie matchup. Looked a little lost, but I think he'll be doing. I think it's a battle between him and Drieger for who's going to be starting goaltender next year for Seattle. From the brand new member of the Central Division, which is really weird, Arizona Coyotes, Seattle selected Tyler Pitlick, another guy I actually really like. I like a lot of weird players, if you don't notice. Like, there's another one on this list that I'm a fan of. Another two. But I actually really like Tyler Pitlick. He'll be fine. He'll probably be second line center, if not third. I, he's all right. He's nothing special, unfortunately, but I don't know. I always select him in expansion drafts and franchise mode in NHL 21. From Chicago, Jordan Quinville. This is AHL fodder right here. This is what happens when it's your buddy's son and you select him. So, yeah, I don't really got anything on that one. Probably AHL fodder. From Colorado, a guy that's probably gonna who did I say earlier was gonna be the right winger, starting right winger? I said it was Jordan Eberle. It also could be this guy from Colorado, Joonas Donskoi. Colorado's loaded, so they were going to get hurt too. It's the same situation Tampa was in. They're loaded. They were going to get hurt. Yeah, better player than all that other teams had available. So works. It works. From Dallas, Jamie Olatsky got selected as a physical defenseman, really physical, which doesn't have much life in the NHL, unfortunately. But hey, we will see how well that goes in Seattle, I mean, I have to check how old is he. Oh, this literally doesn't tell me anything. How old he is or anything. He's 6'7". He's 28. So he's 28. He's got some time left. Possibly going to be on that first line defense. Well, I was going to say that, but he'll be a second line defenseman. Maybe first. I mean, it's between him and another guy. From Minnesota, Seattle took Carson Soucy, 26-year-old. He played at Minnesota Duluth for a bit. Yeah, I mean, he's pretty good. Ran up against him, I do believe, a few times, or Predators did a few times. He's all right. He's not one of the one that hurt me the most from Nashville, Calle Yarncroke, center. Oh, this one hurt so much. So when the leaks came out, I immediately checked Nashville because it's Nashville. That's my team. Excuse me 1 second. Sorry about that. I could feel phlegm in the back of my throat. Um, Yarncroke was one of the first guys when I started watching the Predators, he was one of the first guys that I attached to because it might have been his rookie year in Nashville. So 14, yeah. So it would have been 14. It's when I first started watching the Predators. Like a lot more than I used to because that's when I got more into hockey. Um, he was one of the first ones I attached to. Another one, I actually have his jersey. It's the only hockey jersey I own. Is Roman Josi on his jersey. It's the only hockey jersey I own. But I was gonna buy a Calle Yarncroke jersey, especially in the reverse retro because our reverse retros are actually really good. But yeah, Calle Yarncroke, Seattle's getting a hell of a player. Hell of a player. He was averaging 30 points a year. It was 50-50 goals to assists, and I think he was on the third or fourth line for Nashville too. So he didn't get a lot of shots at it. So the fact he was doing it like that is it's really good. But yeah, I'm gonna miss you, Callie. From St. Louis, Vince Dunn was selected. Um, yeah, he's won a Stanley Cup. Um, he's he's solid. He's gonna it's gonna be his fifth year in the NHL here coming up. He's gonna be a solid player for them. Second line pairing defenseman. Not a, I mean, he played for the Blues in the major for a 4 years before this, so he'll have a decent year. Mason Appleton from Winnipeg. Um, yeah, I mean, he was all right. This last year was his best year. He had 12 goals, 13 assists. I don't foresee him doing much. There's so many good centers. He's probably going to be a third liner, possibly fourth. But yeah, I don't foresee much from him. From Anaheim, the brother duo was fully formed. Hayden Fleury. I feel like the brothers are going to be a defensive unit, defensive pairing. I feel like they're probably going to be that third line because that's what they're going to want to do. So that's probably what they're going to do. They're going to have Hayden and his brother, third line pairing defenseman. Maybe lower. I don't know. We'll see. That's the thing. They have a lot of defensemen. And a lot of them are pretty good. From Calgary, Mark Giordano was selected. He's easily got the captaincy. There's no question about that. It's just no one else has it. He's easily the oldest guy on this team. Yeah. What can you say about Mark Giordano? He's probably going to be in the Hall of Fame one day. He's possibly one of the greatest Leafs of all time, or Flames of all time, excuse me. Um, yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's going to be, you know, it's it's Giordano. There's not much you could say about it. A pick that I loved a lot for Seattle from Edmonton, Adam Larson. Larson is sneaky good. Now, if you're a fan of this channel, you watch the Kansas City Bandits franchise, there are a few guys that are selected in this expansion draft that were on that Kansas City Bandits team. Not saying I predicted the future or anything, but you know, um, Adam Larson's sneaky good. Um, yeah, he's. I can see him being on that first line, possibly with Ordano, or there was someone else. I got to scroll back up. Uh, or Jamie, possibly. I don't remember who it was now off the top of my head. But yeah, Larson, pretty good. I mean, solid defenseman. Can't complain with that pick too much. They kept going with defensemen from Los Angeles. They took Curtis McDavid. Yeah, I mean, he's a second generation player. His father played for the Quebec City Nordiques. So yeah, I mean, it's in his blood. I don't know. We'll see. He was an undrafted free agent. I don't know. I don't expect too much from him. From San Jose, Alexander True. Um, eh. He played a little bit, but not a lot in the AHL or in the NHL. A lot of AHL and below. So, man, it's kind of whatever. Cole Lind was the final pick from the rival Vancouver Canucks. Um, right winger. There's not a lot. Like there's a lot of these picks where I can't really say much because there's not a lot to them. You know, you could say I'll say the same things over and over again. Solid player, decent player, solid player, decent player. Vince Dunn could have been a better pick. Alexander Steen, and then where is he? Cale Fleury could have been Carey Price, but obviously they have an identity that they want to go with, and it's gritty defense and fast, solid young players on offense with young goaltending. Which I mean, for identity wise, that's not a bad identity to have at all. It's pretty good actually. But yeah, that was the expansion draft. The NHL draft happened after that. I don't have any notes because I couldn't tell you much about these players anyway. Again, I know the Preds very, very well. Beyond that, I can't tell you much about the NHL because it's kind of just it's there. It's I can tell you a whole bunch about the NFL and the MLB. I'm getting there with the NHL. It's my right now. I could tell you a lot about wrestling too, as we'll get to a Tommy later on. But yeah, so overall, I like the draft for Seattle. It's a pretty good draft. I can't complain too much about it. Now I'm gonna swing it over to Tommy Haley here real quick for his thoughts on everything. or swing it over to me and Tommy talking about Big 12 falling apart because of Texas and Oklahoma, and over to me and Tommy about my experience on Raw. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special call-in segment real quick as we have Tommy live from Florida. Tommy, how's it going?
Dude, it's going amazing. I got sunburned yesterday. My body is screaming right now. So bad.
Well, probably. How drunk or what level of drunkenness have you reached yet?
Just a good little buzz. I didn't go overboard like some people, like most people usually do on their 21st birthday.
Well, that's good. Tell me, what the hell is happening in the Big 12?
I really don't know. I don't know. Apparently, Texas and Big 12, Texas and Oklahoma are gonna let their media rights expire in 2025, and then they're gonna send a formal invitation to the SEC. Dude, I don't know. All I know is that Texas and Oklahoma are leaving the Big 12.
Which pretty much just brings up the question: who's going to be left in the Big 12?
See, I really
is there even going to be a Big 12?
I don't know. Maybe they could give a call to Northwestern State, which would actually be pretty cool.
North Dakota State as well.
Yeah. But I'm talking to Brock.
But yeah, because Kansas is also fielding calls. The report that I saw was to the Big Ten.
That's what I saw too.
So, which if Kansas goes, the Big Ten's got to bring someone else in, right?
No, it'd just be KU.
Why?
They would do it for basketball.
Okay, but KU's not just going to want to go for one sport.
Knowing KU, probably they would, because they absolutely suck at football.
Yeah, but they get to play Rutgers. They'd be down for that.
Yeah, but they would still lose to Rutgers somehow.
Listen, I know, but
Look, either way, if I'm A&M, I'd be pissed. But you know what city would be very bad right now? The city that where we live in, Kansas City.
Why would that be? The Big 12 tournament.
The Big 12 tournament?
Yeah.
It's like a multi-million-dollar moneymaker for the city.
So here's the thing about that. I don't think Texas basketball has never really been, to the level of they don't have a lot of fans that come in. Oklahoma, that one hurts because there are quite a few Oklahoma fans in Kansas City.
I mean, we still have Baylor for basketball.
Baylor, Iowa State, K-State, KU, Oklahoma. There are more Oklahoma State fans here than there are a lot of other schools.
Yeah, but here's the thing. What are you going to do if the Big 12 decides to say, all right, we're done? Where do you think certain teams will go? I can think of a couple of teams that go to the Pac-12.
Who do you think's going to the Pac-12?
See, K-State would probably be one of them.
Why do you think K-State's going to go?
I don't know, because they probably won't be welcomed in the Big Ten. I don't know.
I think they go wherever KU goes.
I don't think they would fit in the Big Ten.
I don't think KU fits in the Big Ten.
Well, here's the thing. SEC's for football. I mean, just think about it. I think if West Virginia might leave for the ACC if they get a call from her.
Yeah, that move's never made sense to me about West Virginia being in the Big 12. That's never made any sense.
No, it's made zero sense because like they literally have to drive so far or fly and all that. Okay. Yeah, but like West Virginia, if they just, I mean, like it won't surprise me if they leave for the ACC.
No. But then that leaves Baylor, TCU, Texas Tech, and Oklahoma State.
So I don't know.
That's why I'm thinking the Big 12's not going to go anywhere. So here's what my thought is on what's going to happen to the Big 12. Obviously, we know Texas and Oklahoma are gone. Like, that's been confirmed now. As a Missouri fan, I hate this so much.
I said, well, but here's the funny thing. It shows you who won the breakup between A&M and them.
Who won the breakup between Mizzou, A&M, and them? Like, good lord.
It was Mizzou and A&M. They won it
Yeah.
because they're joining them.
So, I actually read an article because it got brought up back into the timeline because of all this. It was Mizzou's perspective on leaving the Big 12. I didn't realize back in 2011 they were trying to go with Nebraska to the Big 10,
They were, but the Big Ten said no.
which, I think the Big Ten's looking at it going, maybe we should have let them in instead of Rutgers or Maryland or.
I mean, it's worked out if you look at it, kind of. Nebraska, I mean, they're just there now.
Yeah, and Mizzou's had more success than Nebraska has. I don't know,
I don't know.
but
This is going to be an interesting 3 to 4 years before they say, see ya.
yeah, now the question becomes what the SEC alignment's going to look like because I sent you the photo of what the who would have to move and
Alabama and Auburn move to the East.
which I don't think is going to happen because they're not going to do that to Florida and Georgia and all of them.
No, they could because they can always talk about that division and be like, all right, one of those teams is going to win a national championship.
We can already, but you could say the same thing about that in the West if you keep Bama and Auburn over there with Oklahoma, LSU, and well, I mean A&M recently has come back to being really
That's
good.
true. Because you can't look at it at just football. You got to think of other sports, like basketball.
So
baseball.
here's the thing: there's no divisions in basketball. They're all in the same conference.
I know, but we're talking about baseball as well.
Yeah, baseball's still owned by like 3 or 4 schools in the SEC. So
Exactly.
even with Oklahoma and Texas moving in, like who's the best baseball team that's moving in there? I think Oklahoma.
No, Texas.
Texas is.
Texas is one of the better teams going into the SEC when they join, if they get accepted.
They will get their asses royally kicked by just about every school in the SEC.
In baseball? Absolutely.
I think the only ones that they'll be fine against are Georgia and Kentucky because they're not good.
The team that plays football in the SEC West is a dominant force in baseball. So LSU, Mississippi State.
LSU's not that dominant in baseball.
They have been before.
They have been, but when this most recent Mizzou baseball team steamrolls you, that's not a good sign.
I really don't know. It's going to be interesting.
It is going to be interesting to see what the Big 12 looks like. And
see what team they could really have a chance of really wanting them to join?
Houston?
No. Cincinnati.
I've seen that. I've also seen Houston's name come up, which would also make sense, especially if Texas leaves. I could see a whole bunch of those Texas schools coming in.
The reason why I said Cincinnati is because the Big 12 talked about them wanting Cincinnati, but Texas has always said no.
Well, that's the same thing that's happened with Houston.
Yeah.
So I think if they were to do that, I think if Houston gets in, there's a chance SMU gets in.
I don't know. It's just gonna be interesting.
And it's just going to be that would mean the Big 12 is literally just the holdouts of the Big 8. So four members of the Big 8: Iowa State, K State. Well, three holdouts of the Big 8. It would be Iowa State, K State, and Oklahoma State, and then just a whole bunch of SWAC schools.
I don't know. Everyone in that conference is just lost. They don't know what to do.
Yeah. And by the way, I say that assuming that KU's leaving. So if KU doesn't leave, then you have four members of the Big 8. The other four are gone. And those other original four are Colorado, Nebraska, Mizzou, and now Oklahoma.
I don't think Colorado's coming back. I think they're fine where they are in the Pac-12.
No, I'm saying those were the other original members of the Big 8 before it was a Big 12.
Colorado was just kind of like okay.
Colorado's actually done pretty well out in the Big 12 or in the Pac-12.
Yeah, I know. They're fine. They were fine when they left.
Like when you look at the schools who have benefited the most, Colorado's up there.
Colorado is up there.
Like it might be them and then A&M.
A&M is at the very top of that list.
Yeah.
It's not even close.
Yeah, and then it's like Colorado and Mizzou fighting each other because I think they have the same amount of conference championship appearances. And then Nebraska.
Well, the first year they went to the Big Ten, they went to their conference championship.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that they're but that's it. That's all that they've done. Have they been to a bowl game since?
I don't know.
Yeah, so it's just that kind of stuff. Like Mizzou had the opportunity to go play in a bowl this year, but for COVID reasons, they couldn't play in a bowl game. They were going to play Iowa.
Well, I don't know. Have you been watching the Olympics?
Sparingly, not a lot.
What the hell else are you watching? There's like nothing on. The Olympics.
Well, a lot of YouTube. And I was at an event last night.
Oh yeah, that's right. What did you think of it?
All right.
It must have been nice to be in a live crowd.
So let's go ahead and say what I was at Monday Night Raw, as we record this Tuesday on Monday night. God, it was good to be back with. It was almost a sellout. There were a few empty seats on the side that the camera's on.
Well, it's funny, I was about to ask you, was it a sellout? I guess not.
There was maybe 100 seats that hadn't been sold out, and that's it. I mean,
so
it was full.
It was pretty packed.
It was. Let me put it this way: the last time me and Brent went to Monday Night Raw was in 2019.
And then us three went to the AEW event in, what was it, February?
Yeah, but so that Raw, there was a lot more empty seats in 2019.
Well, I think for this reason, it's just that, they're finally back on the road. Like, they're not in the Thunderdome. They're actually, in front of live crowds again. I don't know. I was bored at certain points.
What points were you bored at? Because it might have been the same times I was looking over at Brent, you actually like this shit?
Let me see. It was the Eva Marie stuff.
See, we were more focused on Natalya on the outside being hurt.
I don't know. Apparently, yeah, she looks like she injured herself. Looks like she's going to be out for a bit.
It was a leg injury. That's what we could tell.
Definitely looked like a leg injury. Oh, shit. Maybe the opening segment, I was like, really, this is just literally, when they were talking, when Rhea Ripley came out and when she said it was my foul, I'm like, this is a SummerSlam angle.
So here's the thing about that. We were sitting there, and the guys next to me on my right, they were in the same boat I was in. They haven't watched wrestling or WWE in God knows how long.
Me neither. And then I was like, this is a SummerSlam angle.
Well, so here's the thing. the pop that Nikki and Rhea got.
Oh, those sounded very loud.
Oh my! The Nikki one especially was louder than I thought it'd be. Rhea, I was cheering in it, so I mean, I couldn't really tell you how loud it was.
Uh, I, either way, I'm like, I can tell when they're setting up an angle for a big giant pay per view, and then like Rhea came out, that was a dead giveaway. I'm like, this is a SummerSlam angle.
See, we all saw that and we were like, please give us Rhea versus Nikki in the main event for the title. Please. We wanted that so bad.
And then I was like, oh. And I got bored with Charlotte, and I was like, she did the "this is all your fault" and all that.
Yeah, the generic line.
The generic heel Charlotte.
The thing we've heard 1,000 times from 1,000 different people.
I don't know. I was surprised that Goldberg didn't show up.
We were too.
Because like the way like they were setting it up, it's like Goldberg's definitely gonna be there. I'm gonna miss it.
Thankfully, he was not.
No, like by the way, what I mean is like I didn't get to boo with you guys.
Oh, I knew what you meant. But here's the thing. There were very loud Goldberg chants during one of the commercial breaks. Like, there was that large chant, and then during one of the other ones, like after they'd shown Nikki Cross backstage talking to Rhea, there were very loud Becky chants.
I'm not surprised by that. You know what's funny is I was gonna send you that tweet. It's like the tweet that she sent like during Money in the Bank, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like the one where she said like I'm breastfeeding in my house and I'm still the most over woman in the business.
So there was a line after the main event match where Charlotte said, "No one is in my league." Everyone started gasping and was sitting up because they thought she was about to come out.
Oh no, I think I heard her say that. I'm like, are you gonna come out?
Like,
I was waiting for it.
yeah, no, like. So, what was your opinion on the Karrion Kross Keith Lee match?
See, here's the funny thing: is that I was having glue problems when that match happened. So I just looked on Twitter and people were like, Karrion Kross won, but Keith Lee lost. It's like, we can't have nice things.
It was a decent match, actually.
It looked like it was a decent match. I wish I could see it. I could probably find it on YouTube and rewatch it.
Oh, probably. It's. Honestly, I was sitting there and I'm like, God, Scarlett's not there. Karrion's just.
I don't understand why they're doing that. I really don't.
Who knows?
You know what was funny? That I saw a tweet saying, imagine if Samoa Joe comes out and interferes in this match.
Kansas City would have lost its mind.
Oh, I would have lost my mind.
By the way, was the crowd hot to you as well? Like the arena?
Seemed like it.
Like, we were there in the arena and everyone was loud. Especially those "you suck" chants to Charlotte.
That was pretty loud. Although I did see Bobby try to do the heel, like to take a jab at the Chiefs or something like that. I don't know.
It was MVP, something about Tom Brady.
Oh, okay.
Which, I mean, there were boos, but It's also Bobby Lashley, and when he came out and MVP said, "Everyone stand up and give the respect to the champion," about 75% of the arena was standing up cheering for him.
Here's what I think they're gonna do. They're gonna make him win at SummerSlam, but Big E's gonna do a cash in. I feel like they're holding on to that.
I don't know.
They're definitely not gonna do it on Roman. They wouldn't do that.
No, they won't.
They're definitely gonna do it with Big E. Like he's gonna cash in. Bobby.
So what did you think? What did you think of the Sheamus Damian Priest match?
It was good.
because it was a pretty dang good match, and it was well received in the arena.
I don't know, too many contenders matches.
That's what I was trying to get from Brent was what the hell's going on with that.
Too many of those. I don't understand it.
I don't either.
SummerSlam, I think, it's a couple weeks away, so we're trying to sift out all the angles and all that for SummerSlam.
Yeah. What did you? No, go ahead.
I'm surprised they didn't hold that match off till like SummerSlam or something like that. I know in WWE it's maybe a triple threat match between Priest, Ricochet, and Sheamus.
I don't know. I don't follow it.
I don't know. But they were talking about Sheamus on the broadcast. I mean, Ricochet.
Okay, did you get was Sheamus cutting a promo after that match on the show?
I have no idea.
Okay, because I didn't know if that was just for us in the crowd or what. Because he was like, I don't know, because we thought we saw the WWE Live logo on the side there, and he was like, trying to fight people in the crowd.
I don't know. Speaking of which, how was that dark match?
Oh my god. So hang on, before I get to that, what are your thoughts? Because they had it, so we'll get to the dark match, but two of those participants were in a tag team match on the show. What were your thoughts on them?
Don't know, don't really care. I want Dominic Dijakovic back. His team are crap.
So here's the thing. There's something about the look. I don't know what it is. There's something there with him and Dio Madden. I don't know if it's the look. I don't know what it is, but there's something there.
Just give them their regular names and make them a tag team. There you go. Problem solved.
See, that's like, yes, give them their regular names, but keep the way they look right now.
Just turn them heel.
They are heel.
I mean, like, give them their regular names.
Like, I kind of like how I like their look right now, including the whatever the heck the gimmick is. But
I don't know.
When they came out, the dude next to me was like, "What is their gimmick?" I said, "Well, they were like an Antifa thing, and now they're metal enthusiasts."
Dude, I have no idea.
But yes, them. Okay, what did you think of the match between Morrison and Riddle?
You know what's funny? To be honest with you, I did not watch that part.
It was that. Go ahead.
Because I got so bored. I just flipped it over to the Olympics.
Okay, you missed a heck of a match.
Of course, I missed the good matches.
Also, Omos broke a Matt Riddle scooter.
I missed one segment.
Yeah. And then that played into the dark match later in the night. Oh, that was so good.
So I guess you were right that Cena was going to show up.
Yeah, he was all over the advertising for the show. But before we get to that, there's still one more major match. The only title match that was on the show.
Tag team match?
Yeah.
Oh, I did watch that. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, Raw started off pretty good with those two matches. It was that, and then... Oh, what was the match right after it? Was it... Lee and Cross, perhaps?
I don't know, but it was nice to see Keith Lee on my TV screen once in a while.
Yeah. By the way, you don't understand how big Omos is until you see him in person.
Oh, no, I think the TV makes him look small.
I mean,
the man looks giant.
Oh, he is huge.
Well, the next time Raw ever comes in, and I don't go on vacation to Florida, I'll definitely go.
So, do you want me to talk about the dark match now?
Yes.
Alright, so the dark match on the show. Oh, the main event matches beforehand for the main event taping. We got Jackson Riker versus Drew Gulak.
Really?
In a pretty basic match. One sloppy area where Drew went for a a single leg takedown using like a drop toe hold, and Riker was a little bit delayed on it. But beyond that, it was a good basic match because Riker is still not quite at the level of anyone else, but it was all right. And then the main event of main event was Humberto Carrillo versus Angel Garza.
What?
Yeah, that was the main event of main event. Humberto Carrillo versus Angel Garza.
So then, what about the other dark match?
No, I'll get to that. But this was, so the show main event that they do.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You have a main event.
Yeah. But yeah, that was. I have to say, I am a fan of Angel Garza now.
Really?
Oh, Tommy. I may watch or get Peacock just to watch that match back because the crowd. No, because the crowd was hot for both matches. Like we were cheering Jackson Riker. I mean, I cheered Drew Gulak because I recognize the name. But Brent, like when Angel Garza came out, he's like, "Hey, this guy is something special."
I'm just trying to. I don't know. You know what's funny though?
Hmm.
Like during the entire time, I saw two signs that I loved.
Okay, the signs on the show are actually pretty good.
One I found very interesting.
Uh
It was
huh.
like someone had a Braun Strowman sign.
I saw that one because where we were like directly facing the entrance and the ring. Like we were square up to it. Like Brent got amazing seats for this, per usual. We had a camera right behind us.
Really?
Oh yeah. So we saw that one. What was the other one that you saw? Because there were a few. I'm gonna say
It was the Goldberg is sponsored by AARP.
that was one of them. So over in that area, there was another one right by the commentators that just said yams.
I did see that one.
That one was good.
I should message you and be like, "What the hell was that?"
And did you notice the only times that it showed up? It only showed up during the women's matches.
That's true. Really?
Yes. So on the two women's matches that we got. Oh, we didn't even talk about the main event. Did you even watch it?
Oh.
Oh,
Was gonna win.
dude, it was pretty good.
No, but I did see on Twitter that they made it official. It's like triple threat match, obviously.
Yeah, that was done in the opening segment.
Yeah, this is not surprising.
No. So then we got to the real main event of the evening. I told you what the matchup was, right?
Oh.
Okay. So Charlotte had just left, Woohoo, I'm Charlotte. She had just left. Nikki's in the ring. And then Cena's music hit. Oh my, Tommy.
Dude, that pop had to have been giant.
The video I sent you of his entrance, imagine what it was there times 3.
Really? That loud?
Tommy, it's about the loudest pop I've been around for.
I mean, if you want to put it right here, go ahead if you want to.
I'll probably have it as like B-roll. Well, I mean, yeah, I can.
You gotta have a sound. I want to make any sense. Do it without any sound. It'd just be you and just be Cena just standing around and be waving a towel.
So the dark match was Cena and Matt Riddle, who, by the way, did his entrance where he usually comes out on a scooter. He was pretending to pedal the scooter that had been broken earlier in the show. And they faced off against Mace and T-Bar. I heard that.
What? Really?
Yeah. And you know what? I can buy that as a legitimate threat for Cena.
For some of this harsh recording your stuff, it look like they have some pretty good spots.
It was a very entertaining match.
It looked like that.
of course, so before the match started, Mason T-Bar are making their way to the ring. By the way, their theme song actually kind of slaps.
I don't know.
Not as much as Charlotte's does, as I was sitting there and dancing to it. But Nikki's also actually kind of slaps too.
I'm sorry, you what?
What?
What? You danced to what?
To Charlotte's theme? Yeah.
What?
I did the little, one raise, kind of like the running where you move your shoulder up and down, one shoulder up, one shoulder down.
Oh, you were just doing that? Okay.
Yeah.
Like, are you just going straight up to a dance?
Yeah, no, that type of dance. But Nikki's theme also is kind of good. But anyway.
Those pops sounded really, loud.
It's because what I've always been saying, and that's what I want for HCW too when it becomes real. Kansas City is a wrestling town. Like, straight on and straight forth, we are very much a wrestling town. Walking through that arena, you got every demographic you can think of. You had just in our section. Behind us were a whole bunch of good old boys, probably from Lexington or Odessa or Oak Grove or
You had Santa front row where the camera was.
We also had Santa, yes. You had in front of us there was a young Hispanic family with their children in front of us. Of course, there was me, Brent, and his girlfriend, and then beside me was two dudes a few dudes in their late 20s, early 30s, and then in front of them was a black family. Like, Kansas City, wrestling wise, is about the most diverse that you can get. There's a dude who came up wearing a Patriot mask, a American flag singlet, and wearing an American flag for a cape, carrying the U.S. title. I wish I took a picture of it. Cause, but anyway, what I was talking. Oh yeah, Mason T-Bar's theme. It's actually pretty good. They're making their entrance. Cena grabs the mic and goes, "Hold on a second. I know we got a very important tag team match, but I got one question." Looks at Matt Riddle and he goes, "Bro, bro, bro, bro." Like, it was just the entire arena was chanting "bro" with them, and then they get jumped from behind by T-Bar and Mace.
I see that young talent work the crowd.
Matt Riddle. Okay, so because you missed it, the pop for Matt Riddle.
Oh, it had to be loud.
I think it was only second to Cena. Maybe Nikki's was louder, but not by much. Like, you heard "bro" for the first time. Oh God. No, AJ's was also pretty loud too.
AJ's must have been pretty loud.
AJ's was pretty loud. The Viking Raiders got a decent pop too. But anyway, so the match starts. Mace and T-Bar are just working over Riddle the entire time. Riddle is, to quote one of my favorite old school tag teams, is working Ricky Morton in this matchup, just getting the shit kicked out of him. For Cena to, I sent you some of the super close, he was just fingertips away from making the tag spots. There were some clever ones. There was the one where Riddle had a sleeper hold on Dijakovic. There was one where I didn't record this one, but there was one where Riddle was in a Boston Crab. Yes, he was in a Boston Crab and was trying to tag Cena instead of going to the ropes. It was good. It was actually really good. Then finally, Riddle hits an exploder suplex and then makes a tag to Cena.
I'm guessing that I did see they did a 5-knuckle shuffle. together.
They did. So Cena comes in. The first shoulder tackle on Dio Madden does nothing. Madden doesn't move. Putting over how big he is. Goes for a second one, does a little bit more. He's a little bit more off balance. Does a third, knocks him down finally. Gets up, goes for this big swing, clothesline, misses it. Cena hits the sit out power bomb. Dijakovic comes up, does the same thing, sit out power bomb. And then Riddle pops in the ring, and they look at each other. And
I'm watching the video right now. You seem very excited.
well, of course, because I can't remember last time Cena was in Kansas City.
Very long time.
Like, it was big, dude. And then they hit the double five knuckle shuffle. They get up. Cena has Madden in the attitude adjustment. Riddle and Dijakovic. Go watch that finishing sequence there. Watch Dijakovic in the background just spike himself on the RKO.
On the RKO?
Yes.
Oh,
So go
right,
back.
because Riddle's technically doing like the Randy Orton gimmick.
Yeah. Go back and rewatch it.
Also, looking at the Jumbotron, it looks so weird to see Team Mobile Center on that.
Yeah. But go.
Like now where the Titantron is.
But go ahead and rewatch that last clip I sent you.
The last clip?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it's the last clip.
Where they did the hot tag?
No, the five knuckle shuffle. Watch it all the way through, and watch Dijakovic just spike himself.
Okay, they're looking around. They're like putting their arms up. They're like, let's do it. Dude, like no one's sitting down.
Oh yeah, no one was.
Damn, he actually did.
Yeah, he RVD cells spikes himself into the ground.
Oh my god. He pulls out of the ring.
Cena goes for the cover on Madden. 1, 2, 3.
Dude, you sounded very excited when you did that.
What, the 1, 2, 3?
Yes.
Oh yeah. What was I gonna do? Boo Cena?
I don't think right now you can boo Cena.
No, there were a few Cena sucks chants, but you could tell they were playing full. But it was good to have Cena back.
It's good just to have fans back.
Oh, it very much is. It's good to have wrestling back in Kansas City. Like the local promotion here is getting ready to do their first show in 78 weeks.
Hey, so if SmackDown ever comes to Kansas City, we better go.
Oh, 100%. You still haven't confirmed if you want to go to that NWA show in St. Louis.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, I need to know because.
I've been approved them in. You think I've been worrying about that?
Well, I need to know because tickets are,
going fast.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe when I come back next Tuesday.
All right. Speaking of next Tuesday in wrestling in Kansas City, Tommy, what are we reviewing this coming week?
We are reviewing the final WWECW show,
which was February 16th in Kansas City, Missouri. Wow. I mean,
I know, right?
How old were you in February 2010?
2010?
Mm-hmm. February 2010.
I think it was 9.
I was 10 years old.
I was 9. It's crazy to think about that long ago.
Yeah. So I've actually watched this show before, but it's been a few years. I will, I think I'll enjoy it. I think you might too. The main event match is easily the best match on the show, but that's not really saying much.
And what was that? I don't know. I'll probably show Monday. We can do it before we.
Hell, we could actually probably watch it before we record on Tuesday. So the main event of that show is Christian versus Ezekiel Jackson for the ECW title in an Extreme Rules match. Yeah. But yeah, Tommy, I hope you're enjoying your 21st birthday right now.
It was Sunday, but
Well, this entire trip's your 21st birthday.
oh yeah, no, we're checking out tomorrow.
And then you're heading back up?
Yeah, and I'm heading back on Thursday.
All right. I will see you next week, my friend.
I'll see you next week.
And now I will send it over to me because once again, me and Ben's schedules didn't work out. I don't know what's going on with him. Talking about the expansion draft. So, Tommy, thank you for watching. Good lord.
I mean, I could have done a FaceTime call.
We could have, but I think the audio is going to work out a little bit better.
Do you have it like right up to the microphone?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so it should be fine.
Yeah, I'm watching the audio level right now, and you're coming in pretty well.
Oh, okay.
Also, we don't ever record where we did last week. That
You
was
downstairs right now?
no, I'm in my room, so I'm in an enclosed space.
Oh, yeah,
But
the acoustics are gonna be fine.
no, the acoustics on the last one were terrible.
Obviously, you're in your dining room.
Yeah. So, anyway, Tommy, have fun. Before we go, one trivia question for you,
Oh God.
because this is another thing we're starting. I told you that I had these cards, and I just thought about them. They're right here next to my bed.
Yeah, that's right.
Sir, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Question. Michael Jordan was the third pick in the 1984 NBA draft. Who was number 2? A. Hakeem Olajuwon. B. Sam Perkins. C. Sam Bowie. Or D. Kenny Fields.
A was the dream.
Incorrect. It was C. Sam Bowie.
Oh wait, King went number 1.
Yes.
King went number 1.
All right, would you like a retry? Let's see if I can pull one of these golf questions out for you. Yep. Okay. I think I found the golf questions. Make it a little bit more of an even playing field for you. You ready? All right. No, let's not do that one. No, you'd get that one too easily.
Don't hurry up. I'm going to end this call immediately.
Where was golf as we know it invented?
Scotland.
Correct. There you go. Tommy gets another one right. That was pretty much a layup.
Dude, I was not even looking for the rim.
Bro, I'm looking through these golf questions. You'd get all. Oh, here we go. What is the lowest score shot in a round of a PGA Tour event? 58.
58, I mean.
So, yeah, no, as you can tell, Tommy is a goddamn whiz when it comes to golf questions.
Yeah, 58. It's like a handful of people that just 59.
Tommy, thank you. See you, brother.
Bye.
All right, we'd like to thank Tommy once again for calling in from that. Just a few more items to wrap up the show here. Barstool Sports announced that they're going to be the official sponsor of the Arizona Bowl. That's pretty big news right there. Now, yeah, they're now a sponsor of the Arizona Bowl. It's always fun to have there in every single way. I wish I had brought it up with Tommy. He's another big Barstool fan, just like me. But yeah, so the Arizona Bowl in Tucson, Arizona is now sponsored by Barstool Sports. That is incredible to hear. Also, news that happened: Aaron Rodgers broke his holdout. He is now back with the Green Bay Packers in a holdout that had a lot of people nervous and scared. But at the end of the day, he is back and he will be the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. So that means when the Chiefs and Packers play this year, it will hopefully finally be Rodgers versus Mahomes in Kansas City. I cannot wait for that. Also, so to talk less, the Cleveland Indians are officially changing their name to the Cleveland Guardians in a move that I don't hate the name. It's a decent name, but the logo with the baseball with the two G's with the wings coming off is pretty bad. But the script logo looks really good. So next year the Royals will be playing against the Cleveland Guardians. That'll get some use to get used to. Also in news, Patrick Mahomes is now part of the ownership group of Sporting Kansas City. So he now owns the Royals and Sporting, which is crazy that he's already spending his money investing. His wife, or his fiance, sorry, but basically his wife owns the women's soccer team here in Kansas City as well. So yeah, he's just all over the place. Also in other news, Matt Cardona, the former Zack Ryder, won the GCW Heavyweight Championship and was peppered by a whole bunch of garbage in the ring. Harkens back to the old 80s during riots right there. So congratulations, Matt Cardona. In other news, Alex Gordon had his retirement ceremony at Kauffman Stadium this past week, and he threw a strike from left field to home plate to Salvador Perez in a moment that made me cry. Thank you, Gordo. I never have been able to say this on the podcast. Thank you, Alex, for being there during the dark times of the Royals franchise, bringing me up as a fan. John Buck was my favorite growing up. You were number two. God, I'm starting to cry right now thinking about it. Yeah, that was. Oh, God. Also, Andy Reid showed up in all white Air Force Ones to training camp with tube socks, so Andy Reid looking fresh as always. So, yeah, that is your update for all the other news that happened in sports because. Oh, also, Kansas City has announced that there will be a preseason game between the Chicago Blackhawks and the St. Louis Blues in Kansas City on October 2nd. I will personally be there with several of my friends, and right now I'm issuing the call out to all of you. If you're in the Kansas City area and you are a hockey fan, buy tickets to this game, wear your Kansas City Scouts gear or just any gear at all, and chant, "We want a team." Could be Arizona. The Coyotes are already in the Central Division. It makes sense. Kansas City Coyotes also works as a name here. It could be the Florida Panthers. Move them here. We'll have to rename them. Just one of these struggling franchises. Move them here because that is what Kansas City wants. We could support a hockey team a lot better than we could an NBA team. Bottom of the lists are Arizona, Florida, Ottawa, New Jersey. But I want to go to percentage wise. Ottawa, but I don't want Ottawa. And the only issue is everyone is pretty much, except Ottawa, who was just a terrible team last year, is in the 80s or 90s. No, that's not it. No, yeah. Ottawa was in the 60s. Florida and Arizona were in the 80s. We want a team here, and we'd probably actually just support them about the same. That's unfortunate. That's going to be that way. Why does hockey have to start getting popular right now, man? We're not going to get the Islanders. They're getting a new arena. Florida and Arizona. Come on. I want either one of those would work. Florida or Arizona. Florida or Arizona to Kansas City. So yeah, we want a team here, man. We we really do. But yeah, that's all I got here for the end of the show after talking to Tommy. I'd like to thank him for calling in from Florida. Oh, one more update. HCW will be returning here shortly with HCW Homecoming. That'll be August. Hang on, let me check the calendar real quick to see if I have the right date. August 15th will be HCW Homecoming. That's when it'll be uploaded, hopefully, maybe sooner. And then also Midwest, or what are we calling it? That's right. The North American Hockey Association will be starting up here shortly. If you saw the goal horns a little bit ago that were uploaded on the channel, that'll be starting up here shortly. So that'll be something else to look forward to. So a lot of programming coming to the channel. A few more people possibly joining as well in just other aspects. So yeah, it's on the way, folks. Big things are happening here at B Card Entertainment. But once again, I'd like to thank Tommy for calling in on his vacation to Florida. I've been Brock Gordon. He's been Tommy Haley. Goodbye, everybody.